Hey everyone, my name is Barry Wanada and I'm the CEO and founder of Argon Labs. Today I wanted to take the time just to explain to you a little about who we are, about what our capabilities are and how we operate, and hopefully it gives you some insight into what we do and hopefully potentially work with us in the future. So basically what we do is we are a one-stop shop focused on helping startups to scale ups build and support their technical marketing strategy. We do content ideation and creation, distribution, information architecture, analytics, and much more. Our goal is to be your extended team of technical writers, product users, testers, and marketing experts to help build your brand authority and presence. So, in a nutshell, we basically do everything technical. So anything technology focused, we love, especially within the context of marketing. I think technology marketing is still a bit underrated, big time. So we want to work with startups, technology-enabled businesses, and to scale ups all the way to really help build out their content and to really build community and get everyone to use your product and to use your service. Because I think more and more what we're seeing is that a lot more people now are doing this, and we want to make sure that when companies come in, they can build their brand, their presence, and authority in the market. So we basically produce content. That's our core competency. We also do information architecture and we do analytics. They all tie in with each other. So from a content and distribution, we do technical tutorials, API guides, walkthroughs, comparison articles, thought leadership. We basically work with you directly, whether it be the product managers, the CTOs, the founders, the content marketers, to really build the framework around that. Once we do, then we help distribute it. And in conjunction, we do information architecture. We work with you guys to build out your ecosystem, your developer ecosystem, your developer portal. Maybe you have a docs portal that needs to be updated or needs to be revamped or needs to be created for the first time. We try to use tools and latest technologies to make sure that we try to make this as seamless for the customer and the user at the end of the day. And then finally, we have the analytics side, which basically takes all the content we've created, distributes it out, and then measures and manages and monitors everything that happens, engagements, click-through rates, trying to understand the impressions, and then feeding that back into the strategy. But why do we exist? Like, why is this a problem? So one of the ways that I like to explain this is that we sell to technical customers. So you can imagine developers, engineers, technical managers and leaders, could be CTOs, founders, leadership teams. All of these guys have a goal of trying to build their business. And in doing so, they want to work with people like us because we have technical expertise, we have marketing expertise, and we try to make sure that you guys are able to build a very cohesive technical content strategy to sort of go to market and really appeal and build that community. But the other thing is that products nowadays are sort of two-sided, which means that you have the front end, which is like the nice UI interface, customer interaction, the portal on the web, on your mobile and your web app. But then you have the flip side of that, which is the back end, the APIs, the stuff that is actually more powerful at the end of the day because a lot more people are now tapping into the API to build their own products, to build their own apps. And that becomes the long-term vision for the company. So we try to make sure we focus on building presence and authority for our clients to have presence on both the front end and the back end, and they all sort of feed on each other. The other thing is that markets can also be crowded. You've got incumbents, especially if you enter a very busy marketplace or an industry or a sector. There's a lot of players already there, so it can be very, very difficult to build a brand for yourself, right? You need to have the quality and the consistency to do so. So we try to sort of take that load off you, and we try to make sure that we can work solely on building the strategy, building the content on your behalf, and then being able to do that consistently and with quality. And then that sort of ties into with the resources, right? So because, nowadays funding is sometimes limited. Sometimes you're lacking in resources. You don't have the time or the money, the energy to do so. So we try to augment that a little bit, and we come in trying to be an extension of your team to make sure that we can help you along the way. And so that sort of ties in with the people. And I already mentioned that briefly, but just to emphasize, we work with content managers, growth experts, product management, marketing, engineering leads, founders, and leadership. And the reason we do so is that all we do, as you can sort of understand, is within the context of technology and marketing. If you can think of the sort of the Venn diagram, we operate at the intersection of that. And so because we do that, we have to collaborate with a bunch of people in the organization. And we enjoy doing that. We've worked with clients where we've engaged with product managers to content marketers to make sure the entire feedback loop is successful. So we try to make sure that we partner with the right people and we have points of contact so we can communicate and collaborate transparently. So this is how we actually do it. I'll probably move this a little bit to the right over here. And basically, we try to do this in a very systematic sort of way. We try to capture the requirements. We try to, obviously have that initial call with you guys, understanding exactly, is this something that you need? Obviously, not everyone we don't fit with everyone, but if you are producing a technical product that needs to be used by technical people, whether it be in deployment, in customization, in access, we try to make sure that we work with you to understand the content strategy, the mission, the goals, and then we start to sort of get into the understanding, how can we work with you to ideate some of those topics. There's certain things that you want to talk about. We try to build content around that, especially when it comes to writing about concepts and ideas that are fairly new, and you want to sort of introduce that seamlessly into the community. And so we work with you to build very technical guides and then very high-level guides as well, depending on the needs of the business. Once we do create that creation process, go through that creation process, we basically are involved in the promotion and distribution side of things, doing the SEO, the copywriting, the social media, and then, as I mentioned before, the analytics come on top of that. And then once we are able to monitor and manage everything, we sort of feed that back again into the requirements, and we work with you, on a consistent basis to make sure that everything is sort of humming along nicely. And then we have this nice content marketing machine that's producing high quality content for you guys. So let's go back here. So bring this bubble down below again so you can see everything. You can see the diagram on the right on our website. So this isn't new, but I wanted to just put emphasis on this because we take more of a holistic approach than other people. We try to understand exactly what are the top line goals that you have in the mission, trickles down into the audience and the persona of who are going to be the end users and potentially end customers of this. And then finally, we get to the exciting part of actually implementing this. And it could be the content creation, as I mentioned before. It could be events, especially if you're trying to garner momentum around the community, trying to build more people to use the product. I think working with you on building fireside chats, hackathons, competitions, giveaways, that becomes very useful. And then that goes in tandem with information architecture. And that might result in working with you guys on sitemap layout, site navigation. How do you make the experience easy and seamless for developers to come on or engineers to come on and sort of learn more about the product and navigate their way to onboarding themselves, so in order to minimize friction as much as possible. So I think the bottom line here is that we try to work with our clients to pick and choose what they want. They may not want everything. They might just want to have some awareness articles on comparisons and core concepts, and then some others might want work and advisory on information architecture and design on that. But it's all up to you. So this is more of an a la carte approach, if you will. So hopefully this paints a better picture on how we do things. One of the key things here to note is some of the benefits that come out of this. I think the biggest thing I want to emphasize is community. I've mentioned this a few times already. I think the biggest thing about selling or trying to market a product, especially when it's new, is trying to get the backing of people who can vouch for you. And so the great thing about doing this sort of technical content framework is that the more content you produce, the more you become known. And through that, you can start to generate value for the people in the space who want to use you guys because they see that there's benefit for them. But then eventually they start to vouch for you guys. They start to share the word, and they tell their friends and their own networks about who you guys are. And I think that becomes very, very important in feeding this sort of flywheel, because eventually they believe in the product as much as you do. So they want to provide as much feedback to you to improve the product and make it better. And then that builds your authority and trust in the space as well. So overall, this flywheel machine is exactly what we're going for. It's the ultimate benefit for you guys, because as you start to generate and focus on this machine, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just feeds on itself, which is the most amazing thing to see once you start to get this thing going. So those are some of the product benefits. The client benefits is also worth considering, because as I mentioned, you've got more time, more energy, and more money to focus on the product development, as you should. But also you have the efficiency of things where you can sort of scale up and scale down as needed. You're not hiring anyone full time if you don't need it. You can just work with us on demand, just to make sure that we can work with you, and we try to build that relationship long term. So, no matter what sort of tasks you have or what sort of things you need to be done, we're always there at a call's notice, just to make sure. And then once we work with you, we already have started to establish a profile on you, and so there's no more on-ramping or off-ramping anymore. Everything's there, and everyone's on the same page, and we can just start to and continue the work we did from before. And the most important thing, I think, is consistency and quality, and that consistency drives into sort of content creation. It drives engagement, and the more you can produce that's going to be valuable and educational, I think that's the biggest value and the biggest benefit that's going to sort of get imparted to the audience and to the market in general. Finally, just to sum up what we offer, I think the biggest thing, as I mentioned, is transparency and feedback. One of the things I wanted to show you is really the idea of onboarding. So this is just an example portal of one of the clients that we're working with. I've redacted the names, obviously, but you can see here, this is exactly what we do. We try to make sure that everything's systematized, if you will, and we try to make sure that we work with you guys to identify exactly the requirements. And this goes all the way into what sort of access we need, what is the project action plan, what have we achieved so far, have we met all the goals, and then finally you have sort of the Kanban delivery boards and the team. So every step of the process is transparent, and we try to make sure that we showcase everything to you in real time, and then you can also come in here and see what things have changed, what things have been modified. So ultimately this is the source of truth, if you will. And then finally, we work with, we do everything on your behalf, everything from product management to delivery. And so for us, this is our thing. We love it, and we wouldn't have it any other way. So I really hope that you've sort of taken what we have here and sort of learn a bit more about what we do. So that's it. Hopefully it was informative, educational, and hopefully you got something out of it. If you want to reach out, feel free to reach out to me directly via email, or you can go ahead and book a call with us through our website. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out at all. So that's it. Thank you so much for your time. Speak soon.